Welcome to Before Reading. Ever feel, completely stuck? Or maybe overwhelmed because of something someone else did?
Yeah, like their opinions or actions are somehow boxing you in.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into a concept that really tackles that feeling head on. Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory. We've been looking through notes, excerpts, reviews of the book.
All the good stuff.
Right. And our mission here is basically to pull out the main idea, the key takeaways, so you can get a quick handle on what this theory is about and maybe why it's clicking for so many folks.
We're here to sort of walk you through it, highlight the essentials, and really, at its core, the Let Them Theory. It boils down to something pretty powerful, but also quite simple that the sources kept hitting on. You can only control yourself. That's it. You can't control what other people say or think or do. Doesn't matter how much you want to.
Right. We all try, though.
Oh, constantly. But the theory is basically giving you permission to, stop trying to manage the unmanageable parts of other people. Let it go.
Okay, and this is where, based on the material we saw, it gets really interesting. It's not just about, passively putting up with things.
No, not at all.
The key phrase seems to be, let me. It's like a two-parter. Letting them do their thing, be who they are, that immediately frees you up somehow.
Exactly. That's the crucial link. When you release that need to control their actions or their feelings or whatever it is, you actually reclaim your own energy, your own power. You shift the focus back where it belongs on yourself. It lets you make conscious choices about your behavior, your responses, where you put your attention.
So their stuff doesn't automatically dictate your mood or your next step.
Precisely. You stop letting their actions run your internal show.
One detail in the notes really jumped out at me. It was this analogy. Kind of striking.
Oh, yeah.
The idea that sometimes the person driving you crazy might be operating with the emotional capacity of an 8-year-old in that specific moment.
Right, like having a little tantrum, basically.
Yeah. And the theory suggests instead of trying to reason with that 8-year-old or fix it, you let them have their moment. Because you can't really change it anyway.
It's a great way to depersonalize it, isn't it? Their behavior isn't necessarily about you. It's often about where they are at.
That makes sense.
And seeing that helps you avoid getting sucked into their, drama vortex.
Okay, so theory is one thing. How do you actually use this day to day? The material mentioned a kind of mental tool, a mantra.
Yeah, exactly. For those everyday things you just can't control, think a super slow cashier when you're in a rush, right?
Ugh, yes. Or maybe a family member with totally different beliefs you just can't bridge.
Perfect examples. So the first step mentally is just let them be slow. Let them hold those beliefs. You just acknowledge it. You don't fight it internally or let frustration consume you over something you can't fix.
But that's only half of it, you said. The real kicker is the second part. After let them, you immediately think.
Let me. And this is where your power comes back. Your agency. Let me forces the question, okay, given I can't change them, what am I going to do?
So my response.
Exactly. Will you choose to ignore it? Will you maybe emotionally step back from the frustration? Or maybe take a specific action that is in your control, something that serves your own needs or values. It moves you from just reacting.
To actually choosing. Proactive choice.
That's it. From reactive frustration to proactive choice.
The sources also mentioned something for trickier situations, like relationships you actually want to keep. Something called the ABC loop.
Yes, the ABC loop. It came up as a way to apply this stuff in ongoing relationships. Now, the notes we saw were a bit brief on the specifics.
Okay.
But the general idea seems to be a structured approach. Maybe it involves things like asking questions to understand where they're coming from, but without judgment, Observing their behavior objectively, that's the let them part again.
And maybe focusing on your own reactions. Modeling the behavior you want, the let me part.
Could be. It sounds like a way to use the core theory even when connection matters, finding that balance.
And what about when things go really sideways? Like, say, a big mistake happens at work that affects you directly. The gut reaction might be panic or anger.
Oh yeah, totally. But that kind of explosive reaction, it floods your brain with stress chemicals, cortisol and stuff, and it actually shuts down the smart part, the problem-solving part.
Right, you can't think straight.
Exactly. So the theory, by giving you that let them pause, just letting the situation be what it is for a second, and then immediately asking, let me, how will I respond? That helps you kind of bypass the emotional hijack.
And get to the part of your brain that can actually figure things out.
Precisely. The calmer, rational part that can find a solution, or at least a constructive next step.
So looking at the outcomes people seem to get from this, the reviews, the notes,
Yeah.
it sounds like adopting this mindset can have some pretty big ripple effects.
Oh, absolutely. The most consistent thing we saw was people reporting a huge drop in feeling, overwhelmed, frustrated, stressed out.
That makes sense.
When you stop carrying that impossible weight of trying to control everyone else, you free up so much mental and emotional energy. It's huge.
And that freedom leads to actual tangible benefits, according to the sources.
Yeah, definitely. The reviews pointed to improvements all over. Relationships get less tense because you're not constantly trying to change the other person.
Okay.
Your emotional intelligence grows because you get better at managing your own reactions. Workplace dynamics can improve. Productivity goes up because you're focused on what you can control.
And just generally feeling better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Overall well-being gets a serious boost. And, the fact that Oprah Daily apparently called it a best self-help book for 2025, that kind of underscores how much this simple idea seems to be resonating.
Wow. Okay. So as you're thinking about all this let me idea, here's maybe something to chew on. What's one specific situation or maybe a relationship in your life right now where you feel the most resistance, the most frustration because you can't control what someone else is doing?
Where you're really pulling on that rope.
Yeah. And just consider how might experimenting with saying let them and then consciously deciding let me, what you will do, how might that change how you feel or how you react next time?
Just picturing yourself dropping that rope, where could you maybe reclaim some power by just letting go? It's a powerful thought.
Definitely something to think about. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory. Thanks so much for joining us on The 4 Reading.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And hey, if you found this useful, if you got some value out of this exploration,
Please do consider subscribing, maybe give us a like.
and follow the channel. We'll be doing more deep dives into interesting topics, looking at the source material just like this.
We really appreciate you being here and diving deep with us today.